Welcome to our channel. Before we get started, please consider liking and subscribing so we can bring more stories like this to you.
As Flight 419 soared high above the clouds, an unsettling calm enveloped the cabin, quickly shattered by a sudden explosion. Panic erupted as passengers screamed and scrambled for safety, their faces reflecting sheer terror. The jetliner, engulfed in flames, began to spiral into chaos while the flight attendants struggled to maintain order. In the midst of this turmoil, a chilling announcement revealed the cartel's sinister plan. They had cuffed a beautiful bride to her seat, leveraging her as a bargaining chip in their twisted scheme. With the cockpit in disarray and smoke filling the air, time was of the essence. The bride's desperate cries echoed through the cabin as her fate rested on the shoulders of an unexpected hero. Outside, the world seemed oblivious to the nightmare unfolding within Flight 419, but somewhere in the distance, a figure prepared to leap into action. Jason Statham was ready to confront the inferno and save the day as the chaos inside Flight 419 unfolded. A figure emerged from the shadows of a nearby hangar, clad in tactical gear and exuding an air of confidence. Jason Statham. Known for his extraordinary skills as an operative, he had always been a step ahead of danger. But this mission was personal. The bride trapped on the burning jet was no stranger to him. She was his childhood friend, someone he had promised to protect. With adrenaline coursing through his veins, Statham recalled their shared laughter and dreams before life had taken them down different paths. Now, fate had intertwined their destinies once more in this harrowing moment. He mentally reviewed his plan. Skydiving through the cargo door into the inferno, battling flames and chaos to reach her. This would be more than just a rescue. It was a chance to save not only a life but also the bond they once shared. Without warning, a deafening explosion rocked Flight 419, sending shockwaves through the cabin and igniting flames that licked at the overhead compartments. The once orderly atmosphere erupted into chaos as passengers screamed, fumbling for oxygen masks that dangled from the ceiling like desperate lifelines. Thick smoke filled the air, stinging their eyes and choking cries for help. The flight attendants struggled to maintain control but were overwhelmed by fear and confusion. Amidst the panic, a chilling announcement crackled over the intercom. The cartel had planted a bomb to secure their leverage, a bride cuffed to her seat, helpless and terrified. The urgency of the situation became painfully clear. Every second mattered as smoke began to encroach upon her. Outside, Statham's heart raced. He felt the weight of time slipping away. This wasn't just an emergency. It was a race against fate itself, and he was determined to emerge victorious, cuffed tightly to her seat. The bride's heart raced as she struggled to remain calm amidst the chaos. Flames danced dangerously close, and the acrid smoke stung her eyes. But surrender was not an option. Her determination to survive surged within her as panic threatened to consume the cabin. She glanced around, feeling the urgency of the moment. Every second felt like a countdown to doom. Despite her fear, thoughts of escape filled her mind. She recalled Statham's unwavering confidence and how he always found a way out of trouble. She had faith that he would come for her as she assessed her surroundings. She looked for anything that could help her free herself from the restraints. Each heartbeat echoed her resolve. She wouldn't be just a victim in this nightmare. Meanwhile, outside, Statham crafted his daring plan, driven by the belief that together they could conquer the inferno. Statham stood outside the cargo door of Flight 419, adrenaline coursing through his veins as he donned his skydiving gear. He meticulously checked his harness, ensuring each strap was secure and ready for the leap into chaos. Years of training flooded back to him, memories of intense simulations and high-altitude jumps preparing him for this moment. He focused on his breathing, blocking out the noise of the world around him in his mind. He mentally rehearsed the descent, how he would navigate through gusts and flames to reach the interior of the burning jetliner. Visualizing the layout of the cabin, he planned every move, locating the bride, freeing her from her restraints, and guiding her to safety. The stakes had never been higher. Failure was not an option. With one last deep breath, Statham narrowed his thoughts to clarity, ready to embrace the challenge ahead and maybe even redefine heroism at 30,000 feet. With a deep breath, Statham launched himself from the cargo door of Flight 419, instantly being engulfed in the rush of free fall at 30,000 feet. The world below shrank into a blur, but focus sharpened as the intense wind roared around him, threatening to throw him off course. He spread his arms and controlled his descent, muscles tense with determination, feeling the altitude pressing against him like a heavy blanket as he navigated through the turbulent air. Statham spotted the glowing flames of the jetliner piercing through the clouds ahead. He adjusted his position and angled himself toward the cargo in trance he had memorized. Each heartbeat echoed in his ears, accompanied by a mix of exhilaration and dread as he prepared to face the inferno within. The thrill of the descent was overshadowed only by his resolute commitment to save the bride and extinguish the fire that raged both inside the plane and in his heart. Statham catapulted into the cargo hold of Flight for 19, immediately engulfed in a hellish scene. Flames licked up the walls, casting flickering shadows that danced erratically as thick smoke swirled in choking waves around him. The air was acrid and hot, stinging his lungs and blurring his vision that he fought to regain his bearings, feeling the disorienting effects of zero-gravity turbulence tugging at him from every angle. Instinct kicked in as he maneuvered through the chaos, eyes locked on the cabin entrance ahead. Each step felt like a battle against an unseen force as he braced himself against the searing heat and ferocious winds whipping from the flames. He recalled every training exercise, every tactic honed for moments just like this with unwavering resolve. He pressed forward, knowing that every second counted in his race to reach the bride and extinguish the fire of desperation consuming them both. Navigating through the flames, Statham burst into the cabin of Flight for 19, where chaos reigned. The bride remained cuffed to her seat, eyes wide with fear as cartel henchmen surrounded her. Their expressions a mix of menace and confusion. Without hesitation, Statham launched himself at the nearest thug, using his momentum to deliver a powerful kick that sent the man sprawling into a row of seats as he engaged in swift hand-to-hand combat. Statham utilized the confined space to his advantage, ducking and weaving while delivering precise strikes, with every move calculated. He kept an eye on the bride, ensuring she was shielded from harm. He spotted an escape route but needed to eliminate the remaining threats first with quick thinking. He grabbed a fire extinguisher and unleashed a cloud of foam that disoriented the henchman, buying him precious moments to close the distance between him and the terrified bride. With the cartel henchmen temporarily subdued, Statham rushed to the bride's side, heart pounding as the acrid smoke thickened around them. Flames flickered perilously close, casting a hellish glow that illuminated her terrified face. He knelt beside her, quickly assessing the cuffs that bound her wrists to the seat. Time was running out. He could feel the heat intensifying, urging him to act swiftly using all his strength. Statham tugged at the cuffs, but they were stubbornly locked in place. He glanced around for something that could aid him in freeing her, spotting a nearby emergency tool kit. He quickly grabbed a pair of bolt cutters and returned to her side as he worked. The cabin rocked with turbulence, smoke swirling violently, making it difficult to see with each snip of the cutters. He felt the weight of urgency pressing down on him, knowing that their escape depended on every moment he could buy. With the bride finally freed, Statham's attention shifted back to the cockpit, where alarms blared ominously. The jetliner was losing altitude rapidly, fumes trailing from the tail. Fuel reserves dangerously low. He felt a wave of urgency crash over him. They needed a plan to land the aircraft safely. His mind raced as he assessed the situation. The instruments flickered erratically, and he began calculating their descent. He recalled his training and adapted it for this high-stakes scenario. Steering the aircraft would require finesse. He would have to glide it down without power, maneuvering through rolling clouds thick with smoke as the ground rushed up beneath them. He gathered his focus, calling upon every ounce of skill and experience he had. Trusting his instincts, Statham pulled back on the controls, executing a controlled descent. The moment of landing approached, a race against time that could save their lives or lead to disaster. He was determined to make it count as Flight for 19 hurtled toward the ground. Tension filled the cabin. Passengers gripped their armrests, eyes wide with fear and uncertainty. But Statham's calm demeanor provided a flicker of hope. He communicated quickly with the remaining crew, delegating tasks as they prepared for impact. Everyone worked in unison, strapping themselves in and following his commands. Outside, the landscape rushed closer, a blur of green and brown, but within the cockpit, time felt suspended. Statham adjusted his grip on the controls, calculated every movement to counteract the jet's instability. The flames from the cabin had died down, but smoke still billowed through the vents, reminding him of the peril they faced with one final check of their altitude. He steadied the aircraft for landing, using his knowledge of aerodynamic physics to guide it onto a clear patch of land. As they touched down with a jarring thud, relief washed over everyone. Against all odds, they had survived. Together, as the dust settled and emergency vehicles surrounded the grounded flight for 19, Statham emerged from the aircraft, adrenaline still coursing through his veins. The bride, still shaken but safe, rushed to him, her eyes glistening with gratitude. They embraced tightly, a moment of relief and triumph sparking between them as the reality of their survival sank in. Authorities flooded the scene, swiftly securing the area and tending to passengers. Statham watched as paramedics escorted the other survivors away from the wreckage, their expressions a mix of disbelief and relief. He felt a wave of respect for those who had acted courageously during the crisis, recognizing that each had contributed to this miraculous escape. Reflecting on his own journey, Statham understood that bravery often lies in the choice to act when danger looms, an extraordinary sacrifice for others' lives. In that moment of reunion, he felt renewed purpose, affirming that their bond would remain unbreakable amidst even the darkest of challenges. As the sun set over the horizon, casting a warm glow on the scene of chaos transformed into safety, Statham stood beside the bride, their hearts still racing from the ordeal. This extraordinary experience had not only reaffirmed his commitment to protect those he loved, but had also illuminated the profound strength of human resilience in the face of danger. Heroism, he realized, was not just about bravado. It was about making split-second decisions that could alter lives forever. With the authorities now in charge and the remnants of danger fading, Statham felt a spark of excitement about what lay ahead. The world was vast and filled with challenges that awaited him. Whether confronting another cartel or embarking on a new mission to save lives, he remained ready for action. As he exchanged a knowing glance with the bride, they understood this was merely the beginning of their next adventure, one where courage and love would continue to prevail against all odds.